After an hour or so, Yunhee gained conscious. Doctor checked her first and then gave them permission to see her. They all rushed inside. Mrs. Min and Mrs. Kim sat on either side of the bed asking her how she is and what had happened. Mr. Kim and Taehyung stood at the foot of the bed while Wyatt was standing beside him. Yunhee, what's all this? Why didn't you tell any of us about what happening with you? She asked, holding her hand. You didn't even inform us about your pregnancy. Why, my child? She asked. Yunhee, please tell us, my child, why Surgeon said to divorce you? He asked as he moved closer. Hearing the word divorce and Surgeon, she began to cry. Mrs. Min moved closer to her, running her hand on her hair. Child, please tell us what happened, she said, and a few tears rolled down her cheek. Mom, Surgeon thinks that I am having an affair with his friend, said while crying. Mrs. Min and Mr. Kim gasped hearing this, seeing her cry. Taehyung was feeling bad. Unconsciously, his hand grabbed Yn, who held his hand with both of her. I swear, Mom, it's not true. He is misunderstanding the whole situation. She is responsible for all of this, she said in her cry out louder. Who? My child, tell us everything, my baby, she said. That's Annie. She created all this mess. It was her plan to get Sejun. She's also tried to hurt my baby, she said. Her hand went to her stomach. Taehyung turned his face away. He knew what will be coming next. Mrs. Min, why didn't you inform us that you were pregnant? I would have come and take you home, she said as she not to cry. I was scared, Mom. You wanted me to leave him. I thought you will ask me to abort the baby too. I wanted to tell him, but then he started to fight with me. I was confused at what happened all of a sudden. I wanted to make everything alright. That's why I didn't tell. Because I knew that if I said anything, you will take me home. I cannot leave him. Yunhee is saying when she stopped seeing the hurt face of her mother, then Mr. Skim. My baby, Mom. Nothing happened to my baby, right? She said in a shaky voice. Mrs. Kim turned her face, not able to tell her the truth. Yunhee looked at Mrs. Kim. Auntie, tell, is something happened to my baby? She started to crying more. My child, get hold of yourself. You will be, Mrs. Kim was saying when Yunhee literally shouted, please just tell me my baby is fine. Why I'm not feeling something here? She said as she turned her hand on her stomach. My child, you had a miscarriage, he said in a sad voice. No, she said out loud. No, my baby is fine. You are lying. Tell me, Mom, my baby is fine. Please tell me, she said, crying out loud. Mrs. Min held her close and tried to console her, but she was getting fancy with the news and got unconscious. Taehyung panicked and immediately called the doctor, who later informed them that she is under stress and shocking. Knowing about the news, she will be conscious in some hour and asked them not to stress her with the question anymore. Meanwhile, Jim and Yunhee also reached hospital and got worried. Knowing Yunhee's condition, Taehyung, you go home and rest. You have been here since noon, He said, holding his shoulder. No, Jimin, I am fine. I will stay here, he said. Jimin is right, you are tired and you need rest, she said. Wine, please, I don't want to go anywhere, he said in anger and strode away. She looked sadly at his radar bag. Don't worry, Wine, I will ask Mom to talk to him, he said, looking at sad Wine, who smiled a little in return. Mom, please stop it. I said before I am not leaving from here, he said, getting more angry when his mother also asked him to go home and rest. He is not a kind for God's sake. I know you are worried and you care for Yunhee very much, but what use it will be for you to stay here when she is unconscious. Right now she needs her mother more than anything else. So Mrs. Min is here and me as well. Your dad haven't eaten his lunch, you know that you and he cannot skip meal and medicine. She said as both son and father had a diabetes. Luckily Jimmy did. What have dad haven't eaten? He asked worriedly as he looked at his watch. It was around 9. Yes, just like you. He's very worried for Yunhee. We all are here, son, but it will be good to her if you guys don't take care of your own health. So just go home and eat and rest. Jimin and Yunhee are here with us. She said, Stanley, someone has to be strong and taking control over the situation, thought Mrs. Kim. Yes, Taehyung, don't worry. We are here with mom and auntie, he said. Yunhee, who was standing in a little away, gave an annoying look to him, but he ignored it. He signed in a debt and agreed to go home. He went to look for his dad, who had gone to talk to a doctor. Wine was a canteen getting something to eat and drink for her mother-in-law and Mrs. Min. Mrs. Kim went inside the room when Mrs. Min was sitting beside unconscious Yun. Yunhee went to Jimin and stopped him from entering the room. Why did you agree to stay here? You know I can't spend the whole night here. I need sleep as well, she said, irritating tone. So, who's stopping you? He said, jerking her hand away. You never care for anyone else before, so I don't accept anything from you. Just do what you want. Saying that, he entered the room, leaving irritated and annoying her behind. Taehyung came out of the bathroom rubbing his wet hair with a towel. He went to recycle, throwing the towel on bed. Just then Wyan entered the room. Wyan, can you? He was about to say when his eyes fell on her hand. Thai coffee, she said with a smile and put the tray on coffee table, going on her knee. He smiled a little, thinking how every time she get to know what he needs. I know you will say no to dinner, so I made veg sandwich for you, and here are some biscuit and your coffee, she said as she placed two table plate on the table beside his coffee cup. He picked the cup and take a sip and closed his eyes for a few seconds to savor the flavor. She took the towel, his wallet and watch from bed, shaking her head a little. He had a habit to throw his clothes or the thing on bed. She placed his wallet and watch on dressing table. When Dad, he said, turning to look at her. Dad has eaten and I also give him medicine. He is trying to sleep. He is alright, she said, giving him a sure look, and went outside to pool area to place the towel on chair. "Why are you working now?" she asked as she entered the room and found him looking at the laptop with a phone. She knew that look well whenever he thinks something deeply related to work. "I am not working when I'm just emailing June that I won't be going office for the next few days," giving him a list of meetings that I had to attend. He said, "Poor June," she said, went to cupboard to take her night suit. "He's not poor, okay?" he said, annoying. He doesn't know why, but he never liked Wayne taking side of June. "Yes, he is. The amount of work you gave to that poor fellow. I have seen it myself," saying that she went to washroom. After a few minutes, when she came out and saw him lying on the bed, she looked at the table and saw the empty plate. "I ate and also took my medicine," he said, giving her an annoying look. She gave him a big smile and picked the plate and cup and went out. After a few minutes, she came back and saw him staring at the ceiling. She went to her side and bed and climbed on. She moved closer to him and started running her finger into his hair. He turned his head toward her. "Uni will be fine. She has all of us with her. We'll take care of her," she said in her assuring tone. "People supposed to be happy in love." No, she loved Sujun and he loved her. Then why was he assuring her? Doesn't he trust her? Is his love is so weak? And Yunhee, why she didn't tell us anything? Why she was saving him? He said, staring into space. It's not necessary that people in love will always be happy. There are problems and struggle with marriage. Things get different. There is a responsibility, understanding, compromising, and yes, trust as well. It takes two people to make things work, she said, trying to tell him her feeling in hidden word. When he didn't say anything for a few seconds, she continued. Yunhee and Seojun loved each other. They had a love marriage, but somehow it didn't work. Seojun should have trusted her. "I know Yunhee is not that kind of girl. She didn't tell us because she loved him and wanted to correct things herself and didn't," she said. "It's all Ane doing," she said, still running her finger into his hair. "Who is Ane again?" he asked as he can't remember when Wayne told him about her earlier. "She is Sujun's brother-in-law sister," she said. "I can't wait for tomorrow. First thing I will do is talk to that Sujun. I want to spare him. How dare he let all the things happen with Yunhee and never support her," he said in anger as he fisted his hand. Sleep now," she said as she started to rub his forehead too. Taehyung had never said this out loud, but he loves the feeling of her finger running his hair. It's all will make him tiredness go away. He closed his eyes and soon fall asleep. She kept on running her finger until she felt the soft snow. She moved back carefully and lay down on the bed. "I wish you worry for me, care for me in the same way," she whispered, looking at his calm, sleeping face. She knew that he cared for Yunhee very much and that he had loved her, but when they got married, he promised to make their relation work and fulfill all his responsibility toward her and their marriage. And he was true to his work. He is fulfilling all his responsibility, but still there is no sign of kind of love, which she wanted more than anything else. She also knows that he cares for her, but she isn't sure in what sense. Does he care for her as a mere responsibility, as a friend, or as a husband? She was still waiting for the love for his side, and she wait more, but still it's hurt somewhere when you see your husband being worried for another woman, no matter how honest he is with his marriage. Being a woman herself and a wife, she couldn't help but still feel jealous and insecure. I love you, she whispered again with the dropping eyes.